I've talked on the YouTube channel a number of times, guys, about Deathloop, the upcoming game from Arcane Studios, guys, that I'm actually very intrigued by. I can't wait for this title to release. But what I wanted to go ahead and do in this segment of the show is go over the top 5 things that we want in Deathloop. And when I say we, guys, I'm going to give you guys my opinions here. Some of you may agree, some of you may disagree, but let me know in the comment section below what the 5 things are that you want to see out of Deathloop. So let's get into it. So, guys, as I said, this is one of the most intriguing titles, in my opinion, that's going to be coming out here in the foreseeable future, here in 2020, at least as of right now. What I got to say is this. Arcane Studios, coming off of, the heels of course, Prey as well as Dishonored, this is going to be, a title that seems pretty different, but there definitely has similarities to some of their other games. So at number 1 for me, guys, the story mode that we don't know a whole heck of a lot about at this point in time. I really want the story mode, the single player experience of Deathloop to be a pretty expansive world. I'd love it to be, a relatively expansive world. And what I mean by that is even if it's like a semi-open world or even a full open world would be awesome. But I feel like this is going to be a little more grounded as far as like a little bit more linear of a story. That being said, I would like to see it have like even a semi-open world or kind of expansive to the point where we really start to understand everything behind this world and what it's all about. I'm very intrigued by the time loop that is in this game, and so with that, I really want to learn as much as I can about this game and about the franchise when I dive into it. At number 2 for me, guys, is having multiple playable characters. I think is really going to be important. Now, when I say multiple playable characters, I'm mainly talking about like the multiplayer experiences here, guys. I'm talking outside of Juliana and Colt. I would like to see more like playable characters than just them from a multiplayer perspective, but even having, from a single player perspective, are we able to play as Colt as well as Juliana or as Juliana and play each of their stories separately? Or is it something, because really we've only got, as far as Arcane Studios is concerned, they alluded to you're mainly playing, you kind of take the role as Colt in this game. And so what I'm wondering is, okay, so we take the role as him, but are we able to also play as Juliana after we play as Colt? Or how does that work exactly? We really don't know as of yet, but with that, guys, I'd like to have multiple playable characters from a single player perspective, but also from a multiplayer perspective, which gets me to number 3, guys. This is a game that I think has a real opportunity here to have a very special type of multiplayer experience. And what I'm getting at here, guys, is they kind of alluded to this 1v1 type style where you see Colt and you see Juliana fighting and, dying, and then, they just keep going at it, right? It reminds me of like the 2v2 gunfight in Call of Duty Modern Warfare, except with just one person. What I would like to see is the multiplayer experience to be 1v1, but I'd also love to see it be like 2v2, 3v3, like an arena type shooter. And I think they could do something really special here with the time loop. And so having like I said, 1v1, 2v2, 3v3, even 4v4s could be something really special in my personal opinion. And I think that they have a real good possibility to make this a really special multiplayer experience. Even outside of just, we know Arcane Studios as being like, they create these pretty visceral, cool stories, guys, between like Prey as well as the Dishonored franchise. And so from a story perspective, I think it's going to be great, just knowing Arcane Studios. But also from a multiplayer perspective, I think they could do something special here. And that leads me, guys, to number 4, which is when we talk about the campaign as a whole, I would really like to see multiple different types of enemies, because they kind of alluded to Colt like is going to be fighting other, other enemies out there, but it seems like it's mainly this main focus of Colt versus Juliana, and so I hope there's a number of different types of enemies that we're going up against. I'm hoping that there's a number of different environments, different locations that we are exploring as well throughout the course of the story, right? I think that's going to be really important to bring us back. You could also say, guys, along with that, having earnable items within the multiplayer, or even with the campaign, having things that you earn within the game, whether that's customization items, having things that you earn throughout the course of the journey as you play the game from a multiplayer perspective or a single player perspective, being able to collect things, have emblems and titles and such when you're in the in-game lobbies and from multiplayer. People can see how much time you put into the game. They are able to see all the things that you've earned and such, and you're able to do the same to them. And that's what I think is what really brings people back. If you want to build something special here with Deathloop, I think it's going to come down to really executing well, not only from a single player perspective, but also from a multiplayer perspective, and having reason for people to come back to the game over and over again. And that leads me, guys, into number 5. This might be controversial. And part of me wants this. Part of me kind of wonders, are they going to do something like this because of the time loop? And the only reason I'm saying this, guys, is because of the time loop that they're doing here. But what if Deathloop was tied into one of their other IPs out there, that being like Dishonored or Prey? And it would be really interesting to see Arcane Studios decide to do that here. Part of me thinks they want to make this totally separate from Dishonored as well as Prey. But another part of me says, look, they're doing this time loop. And there's something here that if you're dealing with time or in some way, shape, or form, it could be very interesting to see if they would tie this into one of their current IPs. I'm not saying that they're going to do that, guys. I have no insider information. They most likely will not do that because they're probably going to want Deathloop to just be completely its own thing, similar to how Dishonored's its own thing and how Prey is its own thing. I just think that would be something really interesting and something to kind of keep an eye on at some point or another. But guys, these are the 5 things that I would like to see out of Deathloop. What are the things that you want to see out of the game? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Deathloop content and videos, stay here with Zero TV.